Yeah, I just wanted to start with one or two questions, whatever we have heard from last 2 days, and how the pandemic has changed the whole situation. So maybe the first question that I wanted to ask is, once the pandemic has come and everything came to a stop, how many of you started cooking at home and made it as a hobby? Can you raise your hands? Okay. Okay, so as the time passed by, how many of you started thinking, okay, I have changed my food habits, now I want to be healthy and fit, and it's better than cooking, I order to get a nice meal. So how many of you have changed from, cooking at home to, moving it to ordering for 2, 3 people in the house and trying to get it, different dishes from different restaurants, but for the same lunch or dinner. Can you raise your hands, please? Okay. So considering this, of course, I'm not sure, but what we see after the pandemic is that a lot of people started ordering from, different menus, different restaurants, and how the food habits have changed. Similarly, what we have seen is food service industry also has changed quite a lot on how they are operating and how they are delivering food. So what we have seen from that is the like customers are looking for healthy snacks, fast snacks, and all that, and how now the ordering became a new normal for everyone, right? So considering that, how that food is coming, that's where the cloud kitchens have started to serve different varieties and different types of foods the customers are ordering. And what we have seen is, what is a cloud kitchen? Cloud kitchen primarily, like, it's only a delivery model, and then that's where you don't have any dine-in restaurants, and it's just you have food delivery only, and you take the orders from either Swiggy's or Zomato's, and then you try to cook the food and deliver the food, right? So why is this gaining popularity? So that you can very quickly ramp up your restaurants, your menus, and then try to bring that business up. So what is it going to stay? That's what we have talked about, whether is it scalable or not. So what we have seen as a trend is, we have like almost 3,500 plus cloud kitchens that are established in India. And by 2025, the food ordering will go to almost like a 13 billion, and the cloud kitchens itself would be 2 billion. Currently, it is at 400 million. So we have a huge potential for that. And considering this, we have a very unique panel as a part of this stage, who have served the industry for 30 plus years, to who has started their career starting with cloud kitchens, or having a different industry experience but came into the cloud kitchen setup and into food service industry. So considering these, now I just wanted to ask my first question to Mobin. This is Impresario restaurants that you have. Correct. And that exists almost like 20 plus years, and you have multiple brands, multiple restaurants across India, and you have a plan of moving it from current 33 restaurants to 100 plus restaurants within next 5 years. So what trends have you seen in last 20 years and last 2 years with respect to consumer preferences and all? And considering that, how you wanted to ramp up, what kind of business models that you wanted to establish to reach your goal of 100 plus restaurants, still meeting the consumer preferences?
Thank you, Hanuma. Absolutely, the user preferences are changing, continuously changing. If you see what the user preferences were there during pandemic and what you see right now is the user have changed their behavior around 180 degree. So the dynamic of a delivery business also. During pandemic, users were willing to pay any amount to order from well-established restaurant kitchens, to make sure that they were ordering only from the known brands. Okay, they were not willing to take a risk for ordering food from unknown brands because they did not had that confidence or a trust on the hygiene standards of an unknown brand. And there where we got the upper hand because during pandemic we already had the multiple established restaurants who were delivering food. Also, we had developed a cloud brand in form of a Boss Burger before the pandemic itself. So user had a confidence in us and they had no problem ordering from us. However, after pandemic, right, now the user's behavior is changed so much that they are willing to explore new restaurants, new product, new cuisine. Now they are more into a food discovery and a value for money. But when I say value for money, I'm not considering the people who are discount seeking or the people who are looking menu from right to left, but value for money in terms of experience. If you have a great product delivered within 30 to 35 minutes and at the right temperature in an appropriate user-friendly packaging, this is what user is looking for right now. And even after now the user behavior is changed so much, but one thing which is stayed with the user preference is they are going for guilt-free options. What does this mean is they are not shifting the entire eating habits from burger to a beetroot salad, but they are certainly looking for a minute healthy customization to what they are eating. For example, they are preferring grilled patty over a fried in their burger. They are looking for a healthy option in base of their pizza in form of a whole wheat over a refined flour, etc. So
are you continuously evolving your menu with respect to that?
Correct. So to cope up with this, the change of user behavior, what we do is we continuously introduce a set of new products in form of a limited special menu. Okay, and to ramp up that special menu, you need to create a buzz around it. And the three best way to create a buzz around the menu is the first is that you need to be top of your Instagram game. Second, you identify the set of influencer, rope them in for promoting your food and brand. Third, go out and do outdoor catering, participate in outdoor event as much as possible, connect with your end user one-on-one, and that's how you can ramp up your the awareness around your new product.
And when you are talking about increasing your restaurants to 100 plus, what kind of models?
So we will continue sweating our existing infrastructure. We will be doing our home delivery from the same dine-in kitchens. Also running a multiple brands from same kitchen. And also we are piloting a plug and play model to increase our serviceability in area where we are not there.
Thank you, Mobin, for that. Now I will go to Mr. Ajay, who is from Adigas, and he had a very long journey with Adigas, and Adigas has its own special, unique name, the way it serves the restaurants in Bangalore and other areas. It's like it built like across 14 years. Now what we have seen is it's serving its food through Zomatos and Swiggy's as well. And what we have seen in last 4-5 months is that it has established 4 cloud kitchens within a span of 4 months, 1 month every kitchen. So what is the journey that Adigas has taken in moving this, and what has prompted it to restructure its business model from having the dine-in to deliveries to cloud kitchens serving the customers?
Thank you, Hanuma, for bringing up Adigas. I have been with Adigas since 2018 in different roles. And honestly speaking, Adigas was already in the cloud kitchen business in 2017 onwards.
Okay.
The advantage it enjoys is that it's what we typically label as a legacy brand in Bangalore, that it does not need introduction, unlike most new cloud kitchens. most cloud kitchens suffer very badly from this fact of the customer not recognizing them. But in Adiga's case, that is not there. Therefore, when we restructured the brand post-COVID lockdowns, we felt that it was easiest. The brand name is already available. The reach is what was missing, but the top of mind recall is already there. So that's the reason we started off by launching more cloud kitchens, because over the period of the COVID-induced lockdowns and so on and so forth, a number of outlets have also been shut, quite a few outlets in fact, because of various reasons, changing business trends, rentals, so on and so forth. So that is the reason why when I started off the expansion now in this year, we decided very simply to go ahead with cloud kitchens, because for us, unlike, again I'm repeating myself probably, we don't have to spend money on telling the customer who I am. So for me, it's only a matter of making sure that customers know that I'm there closer to them, and therefore I can keep opening cloud kitchens much faster. So it's not just a matter of, it's a decision that we are leveraging what is the legacy of the 14 years. That's the reason why we are opening cloud kitchens. We already have experience in that arena. And even then it's not a simple job. Okay. I think today a lot of cloud kitchens fail as much as cafes and QSRs fail. Because a lot of people get into that business without realizing that without their brand being known, they don't have touch points. Okay. How does a customer know? So established brands getting into it is much easier. But new brands coming into cloud kitchens, that is why they fail. They're not able to get the customer engagement.
Got it.
So like Mobin spoke, you need to be in events, you need to do outdoor caterings, you need to be there. Although he is from a brand which is again very well known. Mm-hmm. But for new brands especially, you need to have multiple touch points. That's what happens with cloud kitchens. So it seems very easy because the cost is very low on the surface. But the failure rate is as high. The failure rate is as high, so you may burn less money, but you'll probably end up burning more money over a number of cloud kitchens if you keep opening and shutting them down. It won't help you. So that's something which is very important for the cloud kitchen business. See, the number that you're talking about, 3,500 is peanuts for a country like India. On an average, I think there are about 20,000 plus or minus restaurants in every large metro, Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore. So 3,500 across all India is nothing. So the opportunity is there, but how to leverage that opportunity, that's a different question and a very tricky one. It's not just because it costs 8, 10, 12 lakhs to open a cloud kitchen, so everybody gets deciding, get into that game and let me open one. When you open a restaurant, you are investing 50 lakhs to a crore minimum. So that is something you really get serious about. People are not serious when they get into a cloud kitchen business. And that is why they shut down.
So far. Thank you, Ajay, for that quick insights and how fast the cloud kitchens are coming up. They are failing that fast. Now I have my question to Vedant. So you have started your Trupt Rasoi and you started with edabba in Kolkata and Bangalore, and you have successfully made it to 5 stores and you are expanding you started with the cloud kitchen. So what's your success mantra and how you have, made your journey through the process?
Funnily enough, when we started, my idea was to bring in the Mexican QSR chain Chipotle to India. Like Chipotle may not want to come to India, but I wanted to replicate the same model in India because I think Mexican food was largely missing. But after doing a little bit of research, I found that whoever had launched Mexican at that point was not doing so well, and the market gap wasn't so huge. But even while I was studying back in college at USC, what I found was, subscription meals were missing. And in India, there was a very famous brand with the name of Dabbawalas. They were huge, but they were just a logistic play. There was no brand that actually, serviced and catered dabbas to people as a service. And when I did a little bit of research in that in Calcutta, I found that even across India, there's very few brands who are trying to cater to that niche area. And North Indian and Indian Chinese is the largest consumed, are the largest consumed cuisines. So it became sort of a clear path for me to go with these cuisines and sort of launch the dabba system. Even though it was majorly through Swiggy, Zomato in times of COVID, it turned out to be very well accepted with the market. Those single person meals was something a lot of people were looking for. So for us, it became a resounding success right from the first kitchen. So it was very easy to sort of multiply after that. And I really agree with his point when he mentioned that for cloud kitchens and new brands, visibility is really important. So for that, Swiggy and Zomato really became our assets. Digital visibility was what we focused towards. And and then once your consumer likes your product, they come back. We have a very high repeat rate, and we see that once your consumer likes your product, they'll keep coming back. And that's what we believe in.
So we saw a huge customer base as well as huge orders what you have.
Yeah.
So what kind of precautions or what kind of the events or the visibility that you have taken care so that you can get to that level in a short span of time?
No, for visibility, honestly, it's not so difficult. There's ads, there's discounts, there's very limited things you can do, there's offers you can run. But mainly, I think it's in the offering where you differ. So the concept we brought in, except for this, was make your own. So make your own thali or make your own combo. So in America, again, when you go to a Chipotle, you make your own burrito. You go right from the start. Same thing when you go to a pizza studio, you make your own pizza. You choose the base, you choose the sauce, you choose the toppings, and people love that concept. I personally love that concept. So for me, getting that into thalis was something fun. And we did that, and that's become our top USP. That's my bestseller today. Make your own Indian thali, where someone can pick the vegetables they want, the bread they want, the rice they want, and it's quite fun. So every time you can have something new. I think that's where we make the difference. Technology-wise, I think it was quite easy. There's so many tech partners. We don't really want to focus on our non-core areas. There's a lot of tech partners who like Paid Puja or Rishta, who sort of help you manage the whole thing. So that makes it easy on that front. I guess for me, the main thing was finding the right USP and the right niche area and making sure that the SOPs, once you scale, you have to make sure that the SOPs within your organization are correct so that your customer's experience is great. I think that's, for a cloud kitchen, that's what makes all the difference. When your customer is getting the food, how much are they enjoying it? How can they unpack it? Are they enjoying the unpacking process? Are they enjoying the food when they receive it? Is it warm enough? I think if we can work on those basic criterias, it's a short path to success.
And very quick question that I wanted to ask with the North Indian and this kind of
Chinese.
thalis, you also have put like a Coca-Cola, Sprite and all. What inspired you to do that?
No, it's a perfect combo, Coke and Sprite, thumbs up. I think it's a perfect combo with your Chinese meal or a North Indian meal. All of us look for that. Like we go look for a gulab jamun at the end of an Indian meal. With a Chinese meal, I think for me personally, thumbs up is something which is always there. So, so does something that goes well with it. And for us, honestly, it's also a sales perspective, what sells well. And Coke, thumbs up, Sprite definitely sells well with these meals. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vedant, for that. Now I'll go to Anant Chowdhary, that you have started the Serial Griller as your brand. And you have a very, you came from entertainment business, you are your self-restaurateur, self-cook, you self-taught everything. So how this entire journey happened in terms of shifting from entertainment business to food service business? What has prompted you to do that? And I also see like a lot of stores you have opened in last 2 years, and you had like a plug and play kitchen models, dark kitchens. So these kind of things, what operational challenges or any other challenges that you have faced in bringing up the models that you have brought in, still seeing the progress in the brand?
Okay. Is the mic working? Yeah. So, like you rightly said, see, for me, I was a passionate chef, right? I was never a trained chef, from any IHM or something. And being in the marketing and the entertainment business, I always wanted to be in the food sector. And back in the days, this is what I'm saying in 2016, when I was working at Akshay Kumar's Grazing Goat Pictures, I realized that not everybody who comes from a middle class family has the privilege to get an investment of say crores of rupees and start a restaurant on their own. So for me, the easiest step to start something on my own was to get into the cloud sector. So that was the main motivator. And at that point in time, Swiggy and Zomato were very new to Bombay. And you know, the good days when Zomato was charging 0% commission. So I belong to those days. You know, at that point in time, we realized that there are a lot of brands which were doing or following this kind of model where they were delivering food from home and they were delivering food from a small dark kitchen somewhere. And that gave the idea to the serial griller because I wanted to do this since a very long time. And burgers, when I started burgers as a meal, right? We were doing fresh handmade burgers back in 2000 brand. I have not been to Bangalore that often. But for someone who is starting new, right, it was a challenge. I didn't know how to get discovered. And when I started, that's the reason why I started off as a part-time business. Then, you know, when I hopped onto Swiggy and Zomato, as Abhinav rightly said, discoverability then became much easier. And that's when I decided to take this up full-time. However, just getting onboarded was only half the battle won, right? Because once you get onboarded, you come to the second challenge. How do you delight your customer? Because you've done the step one, you've got discovered, but how do you delight your customer? Because that's more important. I'm selling a burger, and there would be 2-3 other players who are selling a burger, but how do you differentiate your brand, or how do you make that customer remember you? That's like saying, I would remember my relative who I meet on a regular basis, but mere gaon ke rishtedar ko I won't remember, right? So if I deliver a product to someone who does not know me, I need to make sure that that person remembers me for the next time. Otherwise, the cost of acquiring your customer keeps on increasing. And that's mainly the reason why a lot of restaurants fail, like Sir rightly said, because you're constantly burning on ads, you're constantly burning on discounts. That cycle has to stop at one point in time. And that, I feel, is the biggest challenge that we are facing in today's time.
So Anant, you have talked more from how you are reaching the customer and all, but running the dark kitchens or cloud kitchens comes with its own operational challenges, either manpower or the cleanliness or whatever, order delivered perfect. So what kind of measures are you taking, or what kind of challenges have you seen?
So I think in terms of kitchen level operations, right, a QSR or a dark kitchen is no different from a restaurant, to be very honest, because we maintain the same standards of hygiene that a big restaurant would be maintaining. We have to follow FSSAI protocols. We sanitize our kitchens. We do, regular pest control in our kitchens, and all of those procedures are something that we also follow. So in terms of operation, I don't think that is the difference. The major difference, if I have to say, between a restaurant and a QSR would be that the turnaround time to resolve a customer issue becomes much more difficult and longer. Say, for example, I deliver a burger and a customer says that I found a strand of hair, or my burgers have eaten, or something like that. You have well packed the product and you have handed it over to a delivery boy. The delivery boy has then gone and delivered it to the end user. Now at that point in time, if your end user is sitting at a restaurant, you're in a much better position to service that customer, right? You can still delight the customer. You can take the food back, say sorry, you can give them some dessert free. There are so many things you can do, right? But once the customer has already paid for your food, and then the food reaches the customer, what do you do? So that becomes a major challenge, because at that point in time, you'll be first figuring out what to do, whether you should just no questions asked, give them a replacement, give them a refund, or what to do. And thanks to Swiggy and Zomato, there are a lot of notorious customers that have also come up, right? Like, mere khane mein baal aa gaya. So, all these things happen, and these are challenges that are very difficult, I think, to handle.
Okay, thanks for that. So I'll go next to Amir. You have opened the True Falafel, both dine-in as well as your shops, as well as, you are sending through or delivering through Swiggy's and Zomatos. So what has kept you in competition, considering you have opened everything during the pandemic, right? And the other thing that I wanted to ask is being cloud kitchens coming in, right? How you are coping up with, the pressure or, keeping you ahead of the competition.
First off, thank you for inviting me here. So we have 7 outlets at the moment. 6 of them are cloud kitchens, and the 7th is a dine-in. So actually, most of our experience is coming from cloud kitchens. Obviously, the best way to stave off the competition is to focus on the food. You have to deliver the best quality food, better than everybody else. But when it comes to the actual threats, as my colleagues have pointed out, everybody's coming into the cloud kitchen business because the setup cost is very low, and it's quite easy to do, and it's very affordable. The problem is that a lot of people, as my colleague said, don't take it through to the next level, and as my other colleague mentioned as well. Once you're on the aggregator itself, the only way that you can sell is to be visible. And unfortunately, what the aggregator model is they need to make money, and the only way they make money is that if you spend on them. And once you spend on them, then you become visible. And it's that vicious cycle. So it ends up being the legacy brands with the most capital. They're the ones who are able to be in the customer's visual space all the time. And those are the ones that get ordered. So unfortunately, many people don't realize that even though you're spending a little at the beginning to get your cloud kitchen set up, you will in fact have to spend that much more on these aggregators in order to keep your restaurant customer facing. And let's face it, in the beginning, the customer doesn't know who you are. And until they are able to enjoy your food, you're going to have to pay for that advertising, and that advertising is going to cost money. So that's the first thing. Of course, there are other ways that you can try to keep your visibility up, but these take time. You are going to have to pay attention to the metrics that Zomato and Swiggy are offering you. You're going to have to make sure that your order is prepared in under 10 minutes. You're going to have to make sure there are no issues coming out with your order. You're going to have to make sure that your order is marked ready accurately. You're going to have to pay attention to your ratings. All of these things factor into the algorithm that gets you visible or not. But let's face it, at the end of the day, it's about the money. If you pay them, they'll put you up there. And that's how you're going to get discovered. What we do, however, at True Falafel to try and circumvent that is to, we really believe in the think global but act local. Every single one of our outlets has a different strategy. So if we're in a very busy commercial area, for example, then we want to focus on our single person meals. That's where we want to push most of our advertising against. We want people to be able to have their single meals at an affordable rate and have that at lunchtime, so that's what we would promote. On the weekends, for example, we'll focus much more on party platters and family value meals when we expect large gatherings of friends and family to be around so they can sample all of the food and try all of the different products at an affordable rate as well. We'll do that in residential areas, for example. We have off days like everybody else, and those are usually Mondays and Tuesdays for us, for our brand specifically. I'm not sure about everybody else, but at least for us. So on those days, we'll focus on a different type of offer. We might offer a BOGO, for example, buy one, get one free. That would make sense for us much more than, for example, offering a 50% discount, because at the end of the day, it's your food cost that's getting doubled, not the revenue coming in. So while you're making less margins, it might be worth it just to get some attention and focus onto your brand. At the end of the day, that's what you need to do as a new cloud kitchen. You need to get people interested in your brand at the beginning. Then you delight them with the food, as my colleague said, and then they're yours, and it's much easier to keep them. But it's that start that's the problem, and that's the biggest threat, and why Sir said a lot of restaurants fail as well.
Thank you for that insight, Amir. I'll come back to you. So my next question is to Narayan from Coca-Cola. So you are dealing with these QSRs and online channels, entertainment, cinema, all those channels that you are dealing with. Now the kind of change that's happening in the QSR industry and cloud kitchens that are coming in, right? What kind of pressure as a brand that you are seeing, or what kind of changes are you seeing? And from different models that are coming in, like food and beverage partners that you have, and they are having different products, like maybe the ready-to-eat kind of segments and all, right? So what is that you are seeing that these delivery models are having challenges with respect to your brand?
Thank you for having me. For us, we look at cloud kitchens as opportunities for our consumers to get the brands that they love delivered to home, which open up more occasions than traditional eating out occasions do. Which for us as a beverage brand is actually an opportunity to further ritualize the habit of having our beverages along with the food that they love. So that's the core area that we are looking at as cloud kitchen partners to sort of work with. Obviously, beverages are core to the meal experience, and beverage brands are the only brands that a lot of our food service partners actually sell beyond brands of their own. So you have a McDonald's burger, you have a McDonald's fries, but you have a Coke. You have a Behroo's biryani, you have a Thumbs Up. So in terms of brands, consumers know what they expect of our products, irrespective of whether they're coming from a cloud kitchen or from a regular restaurant, which also means that consumers have certain reference points. So they expect a product to behave a certain way. So when they have a fountain beverage or a dispensed beverage at a restaurant, they know how the beverage needs to feel like. When they have a glass bottle or a can or a PET bottle, when they have it at home, they know how it needs to feel like. So for us, one of the biggest challenges and opportunity is actually in the space of being core to the consumer centricity of product experience. So how do you still deliver product of your brand stature and quality while still being able to deliver at home? It largely springs up three challenges for us, if I were to say. So the first is, when it comes to dispensed versus packaged, the entire taste experience. So a fountain beverage doesn't travel well home like how a PET or a can bottle would. So how do you as a brand still maintain that quality of beverage to your end consumer, knowing for a fact that it's traveling along with a food which is probably at 70 degrees or 60 degrees temperature, traversing 20-25 minutes of distance before the product gets consumed. So how do you sort of take care of that? And we've got a fair bit of package solutions to make that happen. The second challenge is a lot of our partners are used to selling fountain beverages which deliver a certain gross margin, and packaged beverages cannot do the same. There are logistics costs, there are packaging costs. So all of that becomes a shared burden on both partners, our restaurant partners as well as us. And how do you still deliver the consumer price point that you need to while still protecting gross margin for all our partners? So that becomes our challenge number 2. And the challenge number 3 with cloud kitchens versus, say, a traditional restaurant is supply chain complexity arising out of lower transactions at each location. So a traditional QSR or restaurant format would probably cater to anywhere between 600 to 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 consumers coming in and consuming product. And even with the phenomenal preference and therefore incidence that we have, translates to upwards of 400, 500 transactions a day for beverage. And therefore the kind of route to market that we have built to cater to that is very different to the route to market that you need for possibly only 20, 30, 40 transactions of beverage that's happening from an outlet. So these are the 3 challenges that we are working with, and we are working with our customer partners also to make that happen. But a second disruption that we are seeing as Coca-Cola is, one obviously is the fact that you need to solve for the problems of the customer, but there are disruptions that technology brings about outside the scope of what we do with restaurant partners. So today we have quick commerce players like a Swiggy, Instamart, or a Big Basket now, that's able to deliver beverage faster than the food that our partners are able to deliver. Probably at price points, at temperatures, because the delivery timelines are shorter, better than what our partners are able to do. So how do you still retain the consumer in our customers' ecosystem while making money and profit for them and not get, so as a brand, we potentially still don't lose. So if a person likes a Coke with his burger, if he likes a Thumbs Up with his biryani, or he likes a Sprite with his Chinese food, he's still going to order those brands. But how do you retain that with our customer partner to make it value for money for them is the other challenge that we're grappling with.
Thank you for those insights. I'll go to Bansi now. So you have launched it cloud kitchen as a service, right? And you have launched many brands through that across the India. So what if you see India as a very diverse market, the taste, food habits, everything, changing, state to state or region to region, and it changes across, right? So when you are scaling up the business, across these markets? You know, how this scaling happens with respect to cloud kitchen model? And second thing is what kind of technology that goes behind, so that it can be easily ramped up, suiting the needs of the customers within that region, but still maintaining the brand, whatever required to scale up that brand across the regions.
Cool. Thanks for the question. And I'll try to keep it brief because I'm the only one waiting between you guys and lunch, so try to keep it brief. I think everything all the panelists said, right, is really true for a cloud kitchen. You got to have your product right, you got to be visible, you got to have an ops right. And I think that's where the challenge comes in, right? People feel with the 12 lakh, 15 lakh rupees, I can start a cloud kitchen. And that's where the first mistake happens. It's equally tough to run a cloud kitchen as it's tough to run a restaurant. What people miss is when you are running a cloud kitchen, you're giving 20% to Swiggy, Zomato, 25% Swiggy, Zomato, then you spend on ads, you marketing, et cetera, et cetera. So 40% of your margin just disappears in thin air, in digital, in Instagram, on Swiggy, Zomato, and which nobody understands. So as a brand where we are, like, we are a kitchen as a service brand. We have no brands of our own. We work with partner brands to help them scale. And thankfully, 2 of my partner brands are on the panel here, so I can vouch for their success as well. We love to operate brands. We bring in 5, 6, 10 brands in a same kitchen, and we operate them. And the magic mantra is we let them focus on their product and their brand discovery, and we run the operations. So for a cloud kitchen brand to scale, there are a couple of critical factors. Number one is product standardization. I agree, India is a large market, the taste profile changes every zip code, all of that is true. But if you eat Domino's in 1,300 stores, it's identical. Vikram mentioned in the previous session that McDonald's had a 70% new menu in India, but that 70% new menu is across the country. It doesn't change everywhere you go. The gentleman from Burger King mentioned as well that we are a Punjabi brand, and we'll go to that Punjabi brand identity wherever we go. So as from a brand perspective, if you're running a cloud kitchen, you got to standardize your product. Make sure the product is same quality, is consistent, repeatable, no matter where you go, and then work with someone like us who can operate. And I think if you kind of get that synergy right, where your product is great, product is discoverable, and your operations are solid, you have a great recipe for success. And lastly, to kind of make your operations better, tighter, you got to use technology. How do you use technology to improve your operations at the back end, your inventory management, your purchase, your SOP management, your manpower management, your aggregator management? Leveraging tech across all of that, coupled with a great product, is where I believe you'd scale your cloud kitchen much better and much faster.
Okay, if you want to, like, you are expanding across multiple areas and all, right? So what kind of strategies that you follow where to keep your kitchens? Because you deal with multiple brands, and with that scale, you need to have your operational efficiencies as well. So.
Yeah, so fundamentally, I believe India is an infinite demand market. We have enough demand, there is a lack of supply. I was reading a Zomato's annual report, 100,000 restaurants across India deliver 70% of online ordering on Zomato. That's just peanuts, right? 3,500 cloud kitchens, like you mentioned, across the country. That's just like drop in the ocean. So there is a lot of supply constraint across different neighborhoods. We work with aggregators to find the data, to find which location has what gap. Is there a Middle Eastern gap? Is there a Mexican gap or a meal brand? We find those geographies, then we work with partner brands to figure out, hey, we could launch a burger brand here or a Mexican brand there, and then kind of create a bouquet of brands that we operate out of one kitchen, and then we launch. So our success rates are much better, and that means our brand partners make more money than they would do on their own.
Thank you so much for that.
Thanks.
And because of time constraint, I would like to stop here. But lot more insights that, how the brand has started from different cloud kitchens, what technology is required, or how you have to scale it up, or how brands are changing the operational model. So we have heard a lot of insights from this, and I thank all the panelists and IFF for giving me this opportunity. And a big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you.